Yeah, hi everybody. Today we're going to look at the posterior compartment of the forearm, which are the extensor muscles of the forearm. So we did the flexors. Now we're going to look at the muscles that are located on the dorsal aspect of the forearm. And basically these are, the reason why we call them as extensors, because they extend certain areas. And so the primary action that they are involved is that they extend the forearm, right? And then they also extend the hand and fingers, right? So the primary function of these extensors would be the extension of the forearm and extension of the hand, the metacarpals, and also the extension of the fingers, the digits or the phalanges. These are the primary extensors of the extensors of the forearm. All right, so although they're located, these extensor muscles, although they're located in the forearm, as you can see, they act on the hands and the fingers. So, like I said earlier, wherever they cross the joint, they act on that particular joint. So if they cross the elbow joint, they would do a certain motion to that elbow joint. I'm talking, this is a general aspect or feature of a muscle. So, and then if it passes the wrist joint, it acts on that joint, whatever it does, either extension or flexion. If it passes the metacarpal phalangeal joint, okay, it does an action on that particular joint. If it passes towards or through the interphalangeal joints, so it would do a function on the phalanx or the digits. All right, and basically all these muscles that we see here are innervated by just one nerve, and this is the radial nerve. And clinically, this is important in that, so if you have a damage of the radial nerve, either in the source of this nerve, which was the brachial plexus, or other areas of the forearm, if there's a fracture, if there's a car accident, and if you have an injury of the radial nerve, basically the extension of the forearm and an extension of the hand and the fingers won't work. So what happens that, so basically this is an extension, correct? This is an extension, and this is an extension of the hand. This is an extension of the finger. So this won't happen if there's a damage of the radial nerve. So what will happen? The opposite, the antagonist muscles would be active, and therefore you would have a flexitory motion. And these flexor muscles would be active, and therefore you would have a slight flexion of the arm, and you would have slight flexion of the forearm, and then you would have a flexion of the hand, of course. So it's like this, but if you can do it like this. So basically, what this is referred to as wrist drop. So that's the basic things that you would see clinically when the radial nerve is damaged, and basically you have this position, what we call as wrist drop. All right. So this is the clinical aspect. So let's zoom in now and look at the muscles independently. Okay. Okay. So this is the anterior compartment muscles. Okay, we talked about that, and this is the posterior compartment muscles. So going from lateral to medial. Lateral is the thumb side. So this is the thumb side. Okay. This is the lateral side of the forearm, and we're going to go towards the medial parts. So basically, when we look at the posterior compartment extensor muscles of the forearm, we would have, well, the classification is different according to different sources of textbooks or sources of information. So you would have the superficial muscles. We might also refer the next group of muscles, the intermediate group muscles, or the deep, and then third would be deep group muscles. But we don't have to do that. But they usually, differentiate into three group aspects of the layers of these muscles. So going from the lateral to medial, okay. So we have this muscle here. This is the brachioradialis. Okay, we talked about brachioradialis. Remember, brachioradialis. Now, brachioradialis is really a strange muscle. Okay, so this is the lateral bulging. So everybody, please look at their own brachioradialis. On the lateral aspect, the most lateral aspect of the forearm. So you can see that on the anterior aspect, and you can also palpate it on the posterior aspect too. So in either side. So what is this? This is an anterior compartment, posterior compartment. So this is basically an anterior compartment muscle, yes. Okay, slightly posterior compartment, yes. And also in terms of the innervation, it's innervated by the radial nerve. However, the anterior compartment muscles, mostly here, when we looked at that, it's innervated by either the ulnar nerve or the median nerve, okay, on the anterior compartment. But here, the brachioradialis is innervated by the radial nerve, is innervated by the extensor compartment nerve, which is the radial nerve. That's one thing. Another thing is that most of the extensor muscles here, they originate from the lateral epicondyle. And this guy here, this brachioradialis, originates from just very close to the lateral epicondyle, just above that, which is the supracondylar ridge. Okay, so lateral supracondylar ridge. So its lateral supracondylar ridge is above the lateral epicondyle. All right, so it originates from over there, and then goes all the way down to the stylic process of the radius. So basically, what does this do is, although it's innervated, it's part of the extensor compartment, right, brachioradialis, but it's not involved in extension. So that's another important criteria. So basically, it crosses the elbow joint. So basically, you flex your forearm via the action of brachioradialis. Okay, you flex your forearm. So brachioradialis is an important flexor of the forearm. Okay, it's and originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge, and it's innervated by the radial nerve. Okay, the next muscle that we see here. So brachioradialis is like, you know, it's a middle layer positioned muscle. It's part of the posterior compartment, and it's part of the anterior compartment musculature. In terms of function, it's anterior compartment. In terms of the localization, it's posterior compartment. Because most of the anterior compartment muscles are flexors, just like brachioradialis. Okay, the next muscle that we see here is these guys here. This is the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. This is extensor carpi radialis longus, and just next to it you have extensor carpi radialis brevis. Right? Longus means that the tendon of this muscle is longer than the brevis. Okay, so it's a long muscle. It has long tendon, and this extensor carpi radialis longus basically it also originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge, just like brachioradialis. And then we have just next to it you have the extensor carpi radialis brevis, and these two muscles, as you can see, it goes all the way down to the wrist. It passes the wrist joint. And extensor carpi radialis longus, as you can see, the tendon attaches to the second metacarpal, the base of the second metacarpal. And extensor carpi radialis brevis here, as you can see, it attaches to the base of the third metacarpal. So this is the third metacarpal. This is the second metacarpal. All right. So this longus attaches to the base of the second metacarpal. Brevis attaches to the base of the third metacarpal. Okay. So these are the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. Basically, they extend, right? So they extend the hand. So since they're attached to the radial side, so basically this is the thumb side, right? This is the radial side. So basically they extend, correct, but they also do radial deviation too. They also do the radial deviation. Why? Because they're very close to the radial side of the forearm of the hand. These two muscles. Okay. And the next muscle that we see here is extensor digitorum, which is this muscle here. Okay. The reason why they call it extensor, and remember we had in the forearm, in the anterior compartment, we have two muscles, superficialis and profundus. Yeah, flexor digitorum superficialis, flexor digitorum profundus. But here we have extensor digitorum. We don't have any superficialis or profundus here. We just refer this muscle as flexor digitorum. Basically, this. Now the next. The rest of the most of the superficial and the intermediate group muscles now, from now on, including the extensor digitorum, extensor digitorum brevis, originate from the lateral epicondyle. So most of these muscles here, superficial aspect muscles and the intermediate muscles, they originate from the lateral epicondyle. Okay, remember the anterior compartment flexor muscles originate from the medial epicondyle. And the damage was for that we referred that as the golfer's elbow. Here, since most of the muscles here, which I'm going to mention right now, the damage of the lateral epicondyle or the common origin site, which will be the lateral epicondyle, and if this bursa gets inflamed because of the overuse, you have, so that is called the tennis elbow, right? So So most of the muscles originates here. The extensor muscles originate from the lateral epicondyli of the humerus. Okay. So this is the extensor digitorum. It goes all the way down. So it comes from the lateral epicondyle, and then it goes all the way to the phalanges. All right. And there's a what we call as dorsal hood or extensor hood, or also referred to as dorsal digital expansion on the dorsal aspect of the digits. Okay, it attaches to that area, and basically, since it passes the elbow joint, it extends the elbow or the forearm. It passes the wrist joint. It extends the hand, and also since it passes the interphalangeal joints, it would also extend the fingers. So basically, extends the forearm, extends the hand, and extends the digits or the fingers of the phalanges. The next muscle that we see here is this muscle here. This is the extensor digiti minimi. So this muscle here is extensor digiti minimi. Basically goes all the way down to the little finger. Okay, it goes all the way down to the little finger and extends the little finger. So there's two tendons. So part of the extensor digitorum, as you can see, it goes to the little finger, and also you have a separate muscle that also goes to the little finger. So these two muscles act on the little finger. So you have an independent motion or activity of this little finger. Okay, and so the next muscle that we see here is this muscle here. This muscle is the extensor carpi ulnaris. Extensor carpi ulnaris is basically, again, lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and it goes all the way down to the fifth metacarpal. This is the fifth metacarpal, and this is the base of the fifth metacarpal. Basically, it extends, okay, extends the forearm, extends the hand, and since it attaches to the base of the fifth metacarpal, it also has like partial ulnar deviation or abduction. Okay, so extensor carpi ulnaris ulnar deviation. Okay. Extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis would be the radial deviation or adduction, okay, on the medial side. All right, so that's the next muscle. The other muscle that we have here is extensor indicis, which is this muscle here. It goes to the index finger. Okay, it's this is a tendon of the muscle, and it's located deep. Okay, we can't see it here, but this is a tendon, and that goes to the second digit. Okay, this is what we call this the index finger, and basically it extends the index finger. So again, another tendon, the part of the tendon of the extensor digitorum goes to the index, and it also has its own muscle. So this own muscle tendon or extensor indicis is on the medial aspect. So here, this is the medial aspect, this is the lateral aspect. Okay. So on the medial aspect, you have the extensor indicis muscle tendon, and on the lateral aspect, this is the lateral aspect here. Okay. Yeah, and this is the medial aspect here. This is the medial aspect. It's the part of the extensor digitorum tendon, and then you have the extensor indicis here as a separate muscle, which is this muscle here, by the way. It looks part of the extensor digitorum, but I'm going to show you that in the cadaver, a much better view. Okay, and then the deep compartment. Let's go to the deep compartment. Okay, deep. What we have here is these three muscles here. Okay, and these three muscles basically, extensor indicis is located in the deep compartment, by the way. So there's like four muscles that are located in the deep compartment. And these muscles basically act on the thumb and the index finger. So this index finger tendon that I showed you, the extensor indicis, is located in the deep compartment. I'm going to show you that. Okay, the other three muscles located in the deep compartment would be the abductor pollicis longus, which is this muscle here. Abductor pollicis longus. This is extensor pollicis brevis, and this is extensor pollicis longus. So these three muscles act on the thumb. This is the abductor. Okay, this is the abductor pollicis. Okay, these muscles, deep muscles, basically, they originate from the forearm, either from the radius or the ulnar. Okay, so these three muscles originate from the forearm bones rather than the lateral epicondyle. Okay, so this is the abductor pollicis longus. It goes all the way down to the first metacarpal. Extensor pollicis brevis, that all the way goes up to the base of the first phalanx, and extensor pollicis brevis goes all the way up and attaches to the base of the distal phalanx. So, abductor pollicis longus, metacarpal, that's the below. Extensor pollicis brevis, first phalanx. Extensor pollicis brevis, actually longus, would be on the distal, distal phalanx. Okay. And one of the important things here, aspect is morphologically or anatomically, is that these two tendons, extensor pollicis brevis, which is this, and extensor pollicis longus, which is this. These two tendons, in between these two tendons, you have what we call as anatomical snuff box, okay? And in this anatomical snuff box, you see this radial artery here. So this is the radial artery, and basically passes along with the anatomical snuff box, and you can see, and the base of this area, we have the scaphoid and the trapezium bones at the lower part. So these are the this artery is the radial artery, and it's located in the anatomical snuff box. This nerve, as you can see, it's the superficial branch of a radial nerve. We're going to look at that in the hand a bit later. Okay, and basically all these extensor muscles and tendons, they go under this area, what we call as extensor retinaculum. All right, this is the extensor retinaculum, and the extensor retinaculum above and at the lower part, these tendons basically they pass through a tunnel or canal or tunnel or a cave, whatever you want to call it. It is referred to as osseofacial canal, and we call that osseofacial compartments. And there's like 6 osseofacial compartments, okay? And that the tendons, as they pass through or under the flexor retinaculum, basically they form a separate individual compartment. So there's 6 individual compartments that passes under the extensor retinaculum. So we have, remember we talked about the flexor retinaculum in the anterior part of the wrist. So we also have extensor retinaculum located on the posterior aspect of the wrist. All right. Okay, so this is that's the things that I just want to show you. So let's look at all these structures and muscles and nerves. Did I talk about nerves? Well, not really. Tendons, let's say, in the cadaver. Okay, let's start. Okay, so we're with the cadaver right now. So we remove the skin, and we remove the superficial fascia, and the deep fascia basically comprises the and you have the formation of extensor retinaculum and wrist here. After we remove the superficial fascia and total amount of the deep fascia, so we see these muscles here. Okay, so what do we see here in the posterior compartment? As like I showed you in the model, most lateral. So this is the thumb side. Okay, so this area here is lateral, and little finger side. This area here is the medial aspect. So this is the posterior compartment of the forearm, or the extensor. These are extensor muscles. All right, and from lateral to medial, most lateral muscle that we see here is this muscle here. Okay, which is this muscle here. Okay, this muscle is brachioradialis. All right, so this muscle here is brachioradialis. As you can see, brachioradialis, it comes from, as you can see, it comes from, so this is the elbow here. This is the cubital area, antecubital area or cubital area, the elbow. So it passes the elbow, as you can see, and also on the lateral side, it comes from the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus. Okay, so it comes like this. So it goes all the way down. As you can see, it attaches. So this is the thumb side. So on the thumb side, we have what? So don't get confused of the twisted position of the elbow. Just know where you are. You're on the thumb side or the little finger side. Thumb side, yes, that's lateral. and that's where the radius is located. So basically, this brachioradialis basically attaches to the styloid process of this bone here. This bone is on the thumb side, which is the radius. So this is the styloid process of the radius, okay? So primarily, this passes the elbow joint and acts on the elbow joint, and thus this is the primary flexor of the forearm, okay? So it's on the posterior compartment, all right? And it originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge. It's a flexor. It's not located in the anterior. It's primarily on the posterior. And it's innervated by the radial nerve. Okay, good. So that's brachioradialis, the most lateral aspect muscle. So okay, that's about it. The next muscle, okay, that's brachioradialis. The next muscle is these two guys here, this and this. So we have this muscle here, and then we have this muscle here. This is the extensor carpi radialis longus, extensor carpi radialis brevis. Okay, the reason why we call it this is longus, as you can see, it's long, and the tendon is long, all right? And this is brevis here. And this is the brevis, all right. So we have the tendon is short, and also it has a lower attachment point. The origin comes out from the lower part of the humerus. So this part here, this longus, as you can see, if you trace it, it originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge. Okay, so this is the extensor carpi radialis longus, comes from the as the brachioradialis comes, it originates from the same area. And so this is longus here, right? And if I, for instance, if I pull this, you see, this moves, right? Let's look at it again once more. Let's get this out of the way. So, you see, if I pull this, boom, you see this moving? So basically this is the tendon of extensor carpi radialis longus. Where does it attach? It attaches to the base of the second metacarpal. So this is the second metacarpal here, right? Thumb is the first. This is the index finger, second. Is the third, fourth, and fifth metacarpal. So basically here, the longus attaches to the base of the second metacarpal. You see, it moves when I pull from here. So this muscle moves off from over there. If I pull it here, you see, it's moving. Let me get this out of the way. Let me do it again. So you see, look, boom. You see, it's moving. So this is extensor carpi radialis longus. So where's brevis? Just beneath that, or just next to it. This is the brevis, extensor carpi radialis brevis. So where does it attach to? As you can see, they go together, and this attaches to the third metacarpal. Okay, that's this, which is this. You see, this is the third metacarpal, attached to the third metacarpal. So basically, when I pull this brevis, you see, that moves, right? So basically, this is extensor carpi radialis brevis attached to the third metacarpal. This is longus, extensor carpi radialis longus attached to the second metacarpal. All right. So these are one of the important two muscles in the superficial compartment, and these basically originate, well, not longus, but brevis originates from the lateral epicondyle. The longus originates from the lateral supracondylar ridge of the humerus. All right, so these are the two muscles. Next, the superficial compartment, we have these muscles here, which is this muscle here. This muscle is what we call as extensor digitorum. This muscle here, see? This muscle basically goes to the, let's say this. Okay, this muscle goes to the digits, extensor digitorum. Okay, we don't have a superficialis or profundus. This is just plain extensor digitorum, and then the tendons basically go to the second, third, fourth, and fifth. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, second, third, fourth, and fifth digits. Okay, so these are the tendons. So when I pull this, you see, it moves, or vice versa. You see, these are the tendons. Sorry. So these are the tendons of extensor digitorum. All right. And one of the muscles just next to extensor digitorum and associated with that, as you can see, look. So this is extensor digitorum, all right? Extensor digitorum muscle. Just next to it, you see, slightly attached to it. Next to it, it's on the little finger side. It's on the medial side. Okay, so as you can see, it's the medial side. And when I pull it, you can see it moving, the tendon. You see, it's this tendon here. So basically, this is the extensor digiti minimi muscle. All right, so this is the extensor digiti minimi muscle, or digiti minimi. Okay, so that's that muscle here, and that's the and then it's very closely located with the extensor digitorum muscle and tendon. All right. So that's that. So we get this out of the way. So these are all superficial compartment muscles. And the next muscle that we see here is on the lateral aspect, which is this muscle here. And this is basically is the extensor. And by the by the way, I said that the extensor digitorum also comes from the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, and attached to the what we call as dorsal hood or dorsal expansion on the dorsal digital expansion on the dorsal aspect of the fingers, digits. Okay. So it extends the hand and extends the fingers, all right? Since it also originates from the lateral epicondyle, right? So it passes the elbow joint, so it also extends the forearm. Okay, the next muscle is extensor carpi ulnaris. This is this. So this is the most medial located extensor muscle, extensor carpi ulnaris. And basically, it's also originated from the lateral epicondyle, and it goes all the way down to the fifth metacarpal, which is the little finger side, fifth metacarpal. So this also extends the hand and slightly ulnar deviates. Since it attaches to the metacarpal, it can also, ulnar deviate the hand. So this is the most medially located extensor muscles, extensor carpi ulnaris. So these are the superficial muscles. Then we go to the in the intermediate and the deep compartment. What are they? They are the muscles which act on the thumb and the index finger. Okay, so these are the muscles. Okay, so basically these are the muscles that act on the thumb. So we have this muscle here. So basically these, as you can see, these two muscles curve around the distal aspect of the radius here and then goes to the thumb. And the deep muscles, basically, they don't come from the lateral epicondyle, so they don't cross the elbow joint. Basically, they get their origin from either the ulnar or the radius. Okay, so they come from the posterior aspect of the radius and the ulnar, the deep compartment muscles. So this muscle here. Okay, so we have this muscle here, and then we have this muscle here. All right. And then we have this muscle, we're going to look at this muscle here. So these three muscles are deep muscles here. Let me hook that up a little bit here. So let's separate these three. Okay, so we have three muscles. This muscle here, okay, the most lateral located muscle, this is the abductor pollicis longus. Abductor pollicis longus, okay, and so when I pull this, okay, let me just hold his hand. Okay, so this is the abductor pollicis longus. It goes all the way to the. So basically, when I pull this, it's this tendon here. It's this tendon here. Okay, so this is the tendon of abductor pollicis longus, and attaches to the first metacarpal. Okay, the first metacarpal. The next muscle, which is this is the extensor pollicis longus brevis. Extensor pollicis brevis. I'm sorry. This is extensor pollicis brevis. So this is the abductor pollicis longus. Don't get confused. This is the extensor pollicis brevis. Okay, so the extensor pollicis brevis. And when I pull it, can you see it move? All right. Okay, so this is the brevis tendon here. Okay, so this is the extensor pollicis brevis tendon. And this is the tendon of the abductor pollicis longus tendon. So this is the abductor pollicis longus and this is the extensor pollicis brevis. And extensor pollicis brevis basically goes to the base of the first base of the first fingers of the thumbs, base of the first phalanx, so proximal phalanx, base of the proximal phalanx. All right. So that's the extensor pollicis brevis, and then we have this muscle here. When I pull this, look, you see, you can see this moving, this tendon. Look, let me just loosen this up. When I pull this, boom, you see? So this is the extensor pollicis longus tendon. So we have this is the longus tendon, and longus tendon goes all the way down, all the way up to the distal phalanx. So this attaches to the distal phalanx. So what happens is that, so these form what we call as the anatomical snuff box. Okay, the borders of anatomical snuff box. So we have on one border we have the extensor pollicis brevis, and the other part we have the extensor pollicis longus. Okay, these two extensor muscle tendons, and just next to the brevis we have abductor pollicis longus. Okay, so on this border here, on one of the sides, it's composed of extensor pollicis brevis and abductor pollicis longus on one side. On the other side, you have the extensor pollicis longus tendon, and inside the snuff box you have this guy here. You see, this is the radial artery. You see, I'm holding the radial artery here. So this is the anatomical snuff box, okay, and basically this is the radial artery here. Okay. So this is the deep compartment. Okay, these three muscles are important. All right. And also I want you to show you the course of extensor pollicis longus tendon. Like I said, when I pull this, you see, it goes downward. Remember, this is the radius, by the way. All right. So you have the radius, the distal part of the radius at this area here. Remember, there was a Lister's tubercle. Just next to it, you have the groove. And that groove, we had a groove called the groove for the extensor pollicis longus tendon. And after passing through that groove, and then this Lister tubercle, the tubercle serves as a pulley, okay, and then curves around this tubercle, and then goes towards the thumb. So this is how. So it goes down, and then curves around the tubercle, and then goes to the thumb. Where to the thumb? To the base of the distal phalanx. So basically, this muscle extends the interphalangeal. Well, it extends metacarpophalangeal. It extends metacarpophalangeal joint, okay, and also extends the interphalangeal joint, the longus. Brevis, since brevis goes to the proximal phalanx, it only extends the metacarpophalangeal joint, okay. But still, since they pass the wrist, they also extend the hand too. All right, they also extend the hand, and also the abductor pollicis longus abducts. Okay, this is abduction. AD, flexion, extension. AD. Okay, so basically, when I pull this muscle, all right, this abductor pollicis longus, you see, look, you see, it slightly moves. You see, it abducts. It does this motion here. Abducts the thumb, pollex, or also referred to as pollex. Okay. One other thing. So we talked about these three muscles, right? What else do we have in the deep compartment? We also have what we call as this muscle here. This muscle here, you see? This is another. Where is that muscle there? Okay, it's this muscle here. It's slightly attached to digitorum here. Just let me get that out of the way. Okay, so this is digitorum here, extensor digitorum, okay. And then we have this muscle here. Okay, it's again another muscle located in the deep compartment, which is this muscle here. Let me just put this over here. So this muscle here, it's very, as you can see, this is extensor digitorum, right? So we have extensor digitorum here, and then we have this muscle here, all right? And basically when I pull this, can you see it? So you can see this tendon moving. Okay. When I pull this, you see this muscle, it's moving. You see? This and this is moving. So we're talking about this tendon, and then we're talking about this muscle here. Basically this muscle is called the extensor indicis. So basically this muscle goes all the way down to where? To the index finger, and flex the index. And then we have another tendon going to the index finger, which is this tendon here, which is, this is primarily part of the extensor digitorum. However, this tendon here is this muscle, it belongs to this muscle, all right? Belongs to this muscle here, and basically this muscle and tendon belongs to extensor indicis. Okay, so we have the extensor indicis. Let's recap. Extensor indicis. This is extensor indicis. Going to the thumb, going to the second finger, and then we have this muscle here in the deep compartment. This is the extensor pollicis longus, and then we have the and then just next to you have the extensor pollicis brevis, extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, and abductor pollicis longus over here. And on the lateral aspect, we can see these tendons of these guys. This is the extensor pollicis longus. Just next to it, you have the extensor pollicis brevis, and then you have the abductor pollicis longus. In between brevis and longus, we have the radial artery, and this area here is called the anatomical snuff box. And that's about it, I think. Yes, that's about it. And then we have a muscle in the superficial compartment. We have the anconeus over here, and it's involved in extension of the elbow. Anconeus superficial compartment. It's not really evident here, but. And then we have on the deep compartment, we can't see it from here, we have the supinator muscle, and that supinates. Basically, it originates again from the lateral epicondyle, goes all the way down to the radius. So when the forearm is pronated, it pulls the radius, and you have the supination. Okay, so we have the supinator in the deep compartment, deep area. Okay. And basically, you also, let me just show you this. So this nerve here is the superficial branch of the radial nerve. So it comes from, as you can see, from the brachioradialis here. So so you have the radial nerve coming out this area. This is the radial nerve, and it gives off branches to the motor branches to innervate the posterior compartment muscles. It also has superficial cutaneous branches that innervates the skin on the posterior aspect of the forearm. And also, you can see it here, the radial nerve gives off superficial branches which innervates, as you can see this. So this is the superficial branches of the radial nerve, which innervates, as you can see, the radial half of the dorsal aspect of the hand and the fingers. So this dorsal aspect in the hand, on lateral part of the dorsal aspect of the hand and fingers, is basically supplied. The skin, the cutaneous innervation is supplied by the radial nerve. Okay, I think this is about it. All right, so that's it. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. So this is the posterior aspect of the forearm, and we looked at the extensor muscles. I hope it was useful. So if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them. And well, I'll see you in our next episode of Anatomy Laboratory video series. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.